All right, so we were sent a screener for the movie Bloat, and this is a film that was made by the same people who did Missing, Searching, Unfriended, and so that got me excited, right? Because I love the quote unquote uh, what is it called?
Like laptop horror.
It's not laptop horror.
Oh,
It's Screen
oh,
Life.
Screenlife.
Right.
Yes, we
Yeah.
call it laptop
We've
horror.
called it laptop horror, but yeah, Screen
Screenlife.
Life is what I guess it's
Yes.
being called. So we'll go with that. So Screen Life movies, I've always been a big fan of. They also made a movie called The Resurrected. They made a movie called Profile. I've really enjoyed or loved every one of the ones that I've seen. In fact, most of the Screen Life movies I've been a big fan of. There's
Mm.
been some misfires here and there, but I'm usually a big fan of this style. And so this one stars Ben McKenzie. It does come out March 7th. We saw it like a month and a half early. Like we saw this really early on in like early February. You guys aren't seeing this until March like 5th or something. So this we're recording this way before you guys can see it. But this one is about uh Ben McKenzie's character is a he's in the army, he's in
Yeah,
the military,
yeah,
some
he's a
sort,
military guy.
and his family is in Japan,
Yes.
and something happens to his son, and he's been called back into active service, so he can't be there. So they're doing the phone calls back and forth over the computer, and something's wrong with his son. So it's kind of like a possession movie, and he's having to deal with it while he's also trying to deal with the conflict that he's supposed to be dealing with in his army. Now he what he does is he like watches aerial footage for soldiers and then
Yeah.
tells them like what to do.
Well, he does something with like AI with that. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, this okay, let's just get to the point. This movie's fucking terrible. Like legitimately awful. I was actually pretty surprised at how bad I actually thought this was, because this production company has released at least 7 or 8 of these things at this
Yeah.
point, with the 2 Unfriended movies, a lot of the other films that I've mentioned. They even have another one that I have not seen that has really bad ratings. So maybe they're just starting to tank. Maybe they're starting to give these projects over to quick filmmakers that are just trying to cash in on the success of like Missing and Searching, which are both fantastic films. But man, nothing in this film works in the slightest for me. I hated all the characters. I hated the story. I hated how it played out. I hated the way that they utilized the screen life stuff.
Mm.
Man, they really botched
Yeah.
that shit, because the way that it's used in like Searching or Unfriended, I think is genius. The
Yeah.
way that they're able to storytell with all of the different mechanics and the tools with like on the screen, and to incorporate like the news and all these different unique cool ways of like cell phone calls, and the maps, and you can see where they're driving, and then he scrolls around, and then you
Mhm.
see memories by him booting up an old computer and stuff like that. Really, really smart
Yeah.
stuff. This stuff features none of that. It does try
No.
to offer some new things, and all of them fail miserably and
Yeah.
actually pissed me off, because I thought they were so poorly executed and so poorly conceived.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the utilization of like that, the screen life gimmick is very poor in this. Those other films, they have such like an emotional weight behind very simple things like on the computer and online, whether it's people hesitating with texting or, erasing something that they've written a few times. And I mean, there are some of that, like some of those things in here, but they're all done so kind of like
Yeah.
mediocrely that it just doesn't amount to much. And then I felt like, as far as the story, like the horror aspect goes, there was so much going on. Like I feel like there's like three different um stories kind of, or maybe not stories, but a-
plot
angles,
lines.
plot lines,
Yeah.
sort of piled on top of each other, and I think it could have been maybe streamlined to just focus on one of those instead of, like, it's hard to explain without spoilers, but there's a few different angles and like gimmicks that are being explored here.
Yeah.
And I just thought that it made it a bit convoluted as far as the story goes. There was some things that I was a bit confused about story wise that I
Yeah.
think was because it felt a little messy with everything happening.
They introduced this idea of this army guy or military guy who has this conflict that he's dealing with, and he can't leave his post because, obviously you can't go AWOL. Otherwise you can get arrested. And so he doesn't want to overreact, right? And like, I get that. It's a good idea
Yeah.
in theory, right? That he feels trapped when he needs to be with his family. But number one, there's no added tension of the conflict he's dealing with on the opposing side
Mm.
of the other story. If you could have incorporated some kind of, you know, other plot line within his story with the military stuff to make it seem like his attention is being split, right? Because he is supposed to be doing something that is of grave importance. He has the
Yeah.
lives of soldiers in his hands if he doesn't give proper intel and whatnot. And that stuff just doesn't play into the film like at all.
Yeah.
Like, he has a couple moments where he has to make a choice or this or that, or he's ignoring it longer than he should. But man, it really never amounts to almost anything. So it feels like it's a cool idea in concept, but that it wasn't realized. It
Mm.
wasn't fleshed out. It wasn't actually utilized in a way that made it work towards the film. And then the reactions of people towards
Mm.
things. That's right, because we always talk about this. I know, broken record and whatnot, but the verisimilitude, the believability. You have to believe what's going on in a found footage or a Screenlife
Yeah.
movie or a mockumentary or whatever style of like found footage, the subgenre, whatever one that you're doing. The absolute most important detail is that it feels like you're watching real people, not actors,
Yeah.
not a movie, that you're watching somebody footage that was found, right? That's being played back to you. And it never at any moment in this film, for not even a second, does anything feel real.
Yeah.
Everything feels like a staged film. Everything feels like a poorly conceived script that's trying to be delivered by actors who are probably working afar from one another because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is cool. We have that ability to have actors who could be offset, right? Like, I'm sure like someone like a Ben McKenzie, who's from like Gotham, he's the big star here for the show. He could be on the set of a different show and come from the set and go into his, dressing room or his trailer or whatever, get online and record his lines and his scenes for a second movie while he's there. It's kind of like this perfect uh, type of film for you to just do while you're at home, right? Like, you can have 5 different actors be at 5 different places around the world and you can still make your movie. So like, I get the appeal of making a film like this, but because I feel like these actors were probably never really around each other, you can feel they have no chemistry. The
Yeah.
mom and the dad, there's nothing there,
And
right?
there should be
There's
too.
no relationship between him and the kids,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they don't feel like real people like the other films do.
Not at all.
So that was a big disappointment.
The horror in this is
Yeah, and it
horrid.
was very bad with the horror.
Yeah. And the poster, I don't know who made this poster, but just like me and everyone else who has seen it, that looks like Gollum from the Lord of the Rings on the poster. Like, what is that? And I don't, because, oh, and the other, like, the horror element of the movie is my least favorite thing. Like, the monster itself
Yeah, yeah.
creates video distortion.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I will say there's definitely like AI in this for and it's kind of supposed to be written in to an aspect of the story, I guess,
Yeah.
in a way, but I did not like a lot of that stuff at all.
No.
So, yeah, this was a big like letdown for sure. I was excited for it.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I could harp on 10 other aspects of the movie, but I'll just refrain. I digress.
yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. As I said, I could sit here and bitch about so many other things, but it's pointless. It's a terrible film. And if you're like a huge fan of these people's other work, I hope that we can. And what sucks here is that technically, you'll see. I have a minor spoiler for the movie if you do watch it, so you can shut this off if you're worried about that at all. But technically, this movie is set in the same world as Unfriended,
Yeah.
which really annoyed me because I think Unfriended is like a top 10 found footage ever. I think it's fantastic. And for this movie to have a scene that like features something from Unfriended in it, like
Yeah.
real world Unfriended in it, was like, no, no, not this movie. I know you're trying to connect your worlds to some degree, right? Like searching and missing are connected,
Sure. Sure.
which I actually really like because they're both really great freaking movies,
Yeah.
but also because they work to complement one another. And this one, no. Like, I get why
Yeah.
they did it here because this has the supernatural element that
Of course.
missing and searching does not, but not this film. God damn, this is bad. It was rough to watch. An actor who I know is good, who I've seen do a 5-season Batman television series as the lead of the show without Batman. Basically, you have Bruce Wayne, but it's before he's Batman as a kid, and he has to lead the show as like the guy's taking on the Gotham villains without the help of Batman yet, and he's awesome. I love that show. I watched that whole fucking thing when it was airing, and he's great. But man, does he literally phone it in on this one. That's it.
All
Don't
right.
watch it.
Yeah, not a recommendation from us
No,
at least. So.
no, no. All right.